Mahadeva, Mahadeva, Mahadeva. I think this should be good. Namah Shivaya. Om. Om Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tam Hadevamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamshirshibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Sarvopaplavarahitāh Prajñānagana Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi Om Vedantartha Vibhasakaya Gurave Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadi Nagendra Sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohadvanta Divakaraya Bhagavat Pada Vidha Bibhrate Tasmai Bhashya Krite Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane Om. Though in various cultures and various religious systems of the world, we do find the idea of monasticism. But the idea of renunciation and life of renunciation is totally different when it comes to the Hindu or the Vedic way of life. Here, renunciation is not meant so that you can please God. Here, renunciation is not meant so that you can do God's work. Those who are of the idea that they are doing the God's work by becoming the monks, priests, feel that they are helping God. Did God appoint you as his secretary so that you could help him do the work? What makes you give so much self importance to yourself? that you are doing God's work. If God requires your help, then perhaps your God is more helpless than others. If your God requires your assistance, then the God has already declared himself to be incapable. Not it true? And if you think that God is going to be very pleased because I am giving up all the pleasures of life for the sake of God, then this God has to be highly sadistic because this God feels happy by depriving you from pleasures and comforts of life. This has nothing to do with you helping God, assisting God, doing God's work. Renunciation has to be your choice. The rest of it is just an eyewash. False. Therefore, though you find monasticism and monasteries all over the world of different religions and different systems, they are just using people so that their systems can survive. Their idea is people are meant for system. Here, there is a system, and that system is meant for the person. Somebody becomes a monk and becomes a priest in a temple, a church, or a monastery, so that that monastery can run, so that the temple can run, so that the church can run. So the church, that monastery, is a system which is using the person so that it can keep on running, surviving. Therefore, the idea of sannyas is not that over here. The idea of sannyas is when a person discovers that he wants nothing that the world can offer. In the sense, putra, vitta, and loka. These are the only three things that you can have from here. Putra meaning progeny, vitta meaning the wealth and power, and loka also would mean power, social approval, social status. When one has already discovered how ephemeral and how fragile all these things are, and none of these things are really capable of eliminating, obliterating dukkham altogether, and therefore I do not want it. Therefore, the person renounces. And so the renunciation over here is not he is renouncing pleasures. He is renouncing name and fame. He is renouncing power. No. You give up something only because you have found it redundant. You can give up something just because you have found it to be useless. It is not going to serve your purpose, and that's why you can give up. Therefore, renunciation, sannyasa, is centered on the idea of moksha and not on any social order or any social construct. So that the priest, the monk can run the religion, he can run the church or a temple or an orphanage. Is that what should be the job of a monk? Or they should do something. So you keep on producing orphans, and here is somebody to take care of your orphans, and let's have a monk. What is that? What is that? You are just seeking legitimacy to all the illegitimate activities that you do, for which you require a stamp of religion on it to call it holy. What could be more ridiculous than this? Do everything that is illegitimate, just simply get a stamp of religion on it, and it becomes holy. And what more deception could there be? And even if you were to, if you're wanting to run any organization, any orphanage, or anything, you don't require sannyas. A person can very well be a grihastha and still be running and contributing, helping the society. Why do you need to renounce and then take pride in saying that it is for sake of religion, it is for the sake of God, we have given up pleasures of a family, comfort of a family, pleasures of life? Either the person is deceiving himself or deceiving others. And therefore, this is nothing more than just an eyewash, a deception. The Upanishad says that when a person has transcended all these three desires, putra, vitta, and loka, पुत्रेषणायाः वित्तेषणायाः लोकेषणायाः व्युत्थाय प्रव्रजन्ति. This is not what I want. Then what is it that you want? He says all these things have a significance because they can obliterate some dukkham in life. The dukkham of not having a family, a wife, a child can be obliterated. If I have a wife, I have a family, I have a house, I have some social status, but does it remove the dukkham altogether? In fact, the intelligent man is able to see that it is nothing but dukkham brought to you in a different bottle. That's it. The packaging is different, the product is same. That's why Bhagavan Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras says, Sarvam dukkhameva hi vivekinaha, vivekinam, both. For a Viveki, for a wise man, who has learned to understand, discriminate, who has learned to see, differentiate in what is Sukham, what is Dukkham. Now he is able to see that all that is desired by people generally, commonly, is Dukkham. They are just inviting Dukkham in different forms. There may be less and more, but Dukkham does not go. The degree of Dukkham may be less and more or less, but Dukkham as such is not gone. And therefore, now he who says that I want to be free from it altogether is the one who is desiring moksha. Such a person is called as mumukshu. Everybody over here is a mumukshu because nobody wants dukkham. People, everybody wants absolute freedom from dukkham. But though you want absolute freedom, but you have yet not stopped seeing that other things are dukkha roop. Somewhere or the other, we still harbor the idea that some money, some wealth, some putra vitta loka is still going to give me some power, some recognition, some approval, is still going to position. You see how people fight tooth and nail for a position? For what? But people do, thinking that it is going to make me bigger, it is going to make me huh, look bigger. Therefore, he who is a Viveki now is able to see through this illusion. And therefore, now his only demand is, let me have more. No other things are sitting in his list. He does not have to carry a bucket to keep his list. There is one singular purpose. Moksham me bhuyat. And that is the point where he takes to sannyas. This is the only condition. There is no other condition. And therefore, the person is very clear that in me taking sannyas, I'm not obliging God, I'm not obliging religion, I'm not obliging any society, any person. किसी के ऊपर मैं उपकार नहीं कर रहा हूं. I'm not obliging anybody by taking to sannyas. Sannyas is my personal choice. And it is solely meant only just for moksha. This moksha is said by knowing Brahman you will become free. The highest is attained by knowing Brahman. Brahma vidapnoti param. And therefore now with sannyas, the mumuksha gets translated. Mumuksha meaning the desire for moksha gets translated as sannyas. That further gets refined as your pursuit of knowledge. And therefore, life of sannyas is nothing more than just pursuit of knowledge. A sannyasi is not meant so that he can give you some advice and make you comfortable. That is what you have to discover. Is not it? If in life No, a sannyasi is somebody who should give us advice so that we were able to find more adjustment in life, you know. How should I adjust with my wife, and how should I adjust with my family, and how should I adjust with my colleagues and people around? A sannyasi is one who should give us this advice. My question to you is, you have lived your life 20, 25, 50, 60, 80 years. What were you doing if you were not able to understand and devise how to establish peace around you? What were you doing all these years? What have you learned? By going to schools and colleges, what have you really learned? If you haven't learned how to create peace around you, if you haven't learned how to create love and beauty around you, what have you learned all these years? Now that you are saying that somebody else is responsible to teach me, if your own experiences haven't taught you, even some Brahmadev comes down, he won't be able to teach you. Because a person has refused to learn from his own experiences, then can even Brihaspati teach? Who can be a better teacher than your own experiences? If a person hasn't understood by burning his fingers that this pot is hot, who can tell him it is hot? Every time he keeps doing the same thing. Ramadi, sannyas is a different thing. Sannyas is walking alone. A sannyasi is always alone. He is not going to walk in a flock. If you wanted the comfort of a flock, have family. If you want to have the security of a flock, have your relatives. And even when you are going to have family and relatives and people, be ready to pay the price for that. I want children, but I don't want to children, where I have to change the diapers 10 times a day. Then what? Are you going to rent children? Or what? The, when the time comes to change the diapers, return it. Yeah? Be ready to pay the price for that. But we aren't ready to pay the price. Learn yourself. Sannyas is altogether different. And therefore, there is one sole purpose, and that is the pursuit of knowledge. Because knowledge is the means to moksha. Do you see this? Therefore, just don't think that sannyasi means somebody who is now going to, or a monk means somebody who should be taking care of orphans and things like that. The past century, they had these nunneries where these women were made nuns washing clothes of the village, the whole town. What was that? Huh? You just wanted cheap labor, and so you created it in name of religion. And the weakest section of the society was those women. So let's put them to work. Let us make them wear a gown and put them over there and let them wash our clothes. What were we doing? This is what is called as monasticism. This is pure exploitation. How much more shameless can society be in name of God? Laundry services, cheap laundry services. Haven't you seen the history? Huh? What was that? Therefore, now we have sannyasi means the one who is in pursuit of moksha, and that pursuit of moksha means pursuit of knowledge. And therefore, there is only one thing for a sannyasi, and that is Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. That's all. But mind you, there is one more thing, and that is the Vidvat sannyas. There is a grahastha, a householder, who is committed, who is able to understand what the Upanishads are saying. Knowledge means that you should be able to understand that's all what the requirement is. What else would you are you going to say knowledge is other than your understanding? If you understand, you know. So there is a person who is able to understand what the Upanishads are saying. So there is an understanding. Knowledge has taken place. And the knowledge is that Atma is Brahman. The entire gamut of Anatma Padartha is only an appearance. Atma is Sukham, Anatma is not Sukham. To impose the idea that Anatma Padartha is Sukham, that itself is Dukkham. So now the person in whom this knowledge has taken place that Atma is Brahman and Anatma is only an appearance. He has the knowledge and he is going to be free from the cycle of birth and death. But yes, sir, after this body falls, after the prarabdha is exhausted, but what till then? Till then, he is going to see this duality. Anatma Padartha is going to be experienced, though he knows it is false. Now, his question is that what is false? Why to even experience it? Why to even see it? Because that seeing itself is also causing disturbance. And therefore, he takes to Vidvat sannyas. Now, the purpose of sannyas is Paramashanti, even whilst living. And that's why we have sannyasa, which is Vividisha sannyasa, whose purpose is Videha Mukti, and Vidvat sannyasa, whose purpose is Jivan Mukti. You see? Now the question that has been asked is, Nanu Purvatra Vividisha sannyasasya tatvajnanam phalam Vidvat sannyasasya Jivan Muktihi iti vyavastha varnita. This has been explained in the earlier pages of this very text, where it was told that Vividisha sannyasa is meant for the very purpose of Vividisha sannyasa is Videha Mukti, moksha only. And the purpose of Vidvat sannyasa is Jivan Mukti. But that Vividisha sannyasa will be that Videha Kaivalyam will be attained only if the knowledge takes place. Only when the knowledge takes place. Tatvajnanam iti phalam. Kasya vividisha sannyasasya phalam kim? Tatvajnanam. And so he says, Tathacha sati, suppose a person who has now in pursuit of knowledge taken to Vividisha sannyas, and that sannyas, the knowledge has taken place. Prathamaha, Prathamataha Tatvajnanam Sampadya. Now, let us keep the sannyasi on one side, but let us talk about a grahastha in whose life the knowledge takes place because he is able to understand. If he is capable of understanding, he understands. Who understands? He who has the capacity to understand understands. He who doesn't have the capacity will have to undergo a rigmarole to prepare himself to understand. So, if there is a grahastha, if there is a householder who understands, so prathamataha tatvajnanam sampadya. Now, he has accomplished the tatvajnanam, the knowledge is accomplished. Paschat vidvat sannyasam kritva, and thereafter he takes to vidvat sannyas because now he wants shanti. Okay? Why even see this duality? Let me be absorbed in samadhi. That is what he says. If a grihastha says that I'm a householder and I'm going to sit over here in samadhi, will anybody allow? Will that be permitted? A grihastha means he will have to assume a responsibility. There is a responsibility, and therefore it is not going to be possible. And so he takes to vidvat sannyasa. And over there, paschat vidvat sannyasam kritva jivataha, whilst living, स्वस्य बन्धरूपयोः वासना मनोवृत्त्योर् विनाशः सम्पादनीयः. Vasana. Now what does he strive for? Over here now he strives to overcome, give up, nullify the vasanas which can cause disturbances, or even give up the thought processes. And with every thought process that rises, there is going to be a rise of ego. There is no thought without ego. Show a thought where you can say, I know the thought, but I is not there. The ego is not there. The knower is not there. Do you have anything like that? No. You can see this yellow flower and you say, I know the yellow flower. Is not it? So just with a simple experience like that, the ego of knowership already is there. And therefore he says, let all thoughts be given up. And this is Manonasha, where the mind does not transform into thought processes, but transforms into cessation of thoughts. वृत्तिरूप परिणाम परित्यज्य परिणामं परित्यज्य निरोध रूप परिणामेन स्थास्यति. That is manonasha. Now the mind remains in that state where the thoughts have ceased. It is a transformation of mind in altogether different way. But for a grihastha, this is not going to be possible. He will be told, get up, go, do something, at least buy vegetables and bring for the evening. You expect me to cook for you? Doing nothing, go, at least do that much. Only Parvati tells Shankar Bhagavan, you sit over there, I'll do. But really speaking, in all the houses, the case is The husband does so much that the wife and the children have to tell him that please keep quiet. Not possible. And therefore there is relevance of Vidvat Sannyas. This is just was, though this was in a jocular vein, but we will understand the earlier pages of this book already have discussed Vidvat Sannyas. I don't want to go into the details of it because there is a quite a bulk of this itself to be covered. Vidvat Sannyasam Kritva Jivataha Swasya Bandharupayoho. Now he wants to give up those bandhas, meaning bondages. Which bandhas are there? Vasana and the manovritti. These are the two bondages that he wants to give up. And therefore, in order to accomplish that, he can take to jivan mukti. The question over here is, sir, you have said Tatvajnanam, Manonash, and Vasanakshaya, all three together are the cause for Jivan Mukti. Over here, the knowledge already has taken place. Why are you insisting that knowledge also becomes knowledge has taken place? All that the bandha over here is not that of avidya. The bandha over here is presence of those samskaras which can spark agitation or even minor thought processes. That has to be given up. And you are saying Jivan Mukti needs all these three. If any of these three ingredients is absent, Jivan Mukti cannot take place. But he is saying that only two are required. Why are you insisting on Tattvajnanam in case of Vidvat Sannyas? Do you understand now what is the question? And so he says, अत्र तु तत्त्वज्ञानादीनां सहैवाभ्यासो नियम्यते अतः पूर्वोत्तर विरोधः इति चेत्. But we find that knowledge is not required because it is already there. Knowledge cannot be had second time. If you remember, knowledge cannot be had. Knowledge just takes place once and that is it. This morning I had discussed this. Knowledge takes place only once. The second time may be a memory, a reminder, a remembrance, but it is not knowledge anymore. For knowledge, the prerequisite is that something is unknown to you before, and this moment it becomes known. If you forget this, you may be reminded, but you are going to say, well, I remember it now. You're not going to say, I did not know it before, I know it now. There is a difference between these two. So knowledge takes place once, but you are saying the knowledge, the means of knowledge need to be reiterated along with manonasha and vasanakshaya for jivan mukti. Sir, there seems to be some confusion. There is in fact purvottara, the earlier part of the book and this part of the book are slightly somewhere in contradiction to each other. Purvottara virodha is seen. And so, if you check, to this the answer is given. Nayam doshaha on page number 85 of the print. Nayam doshaha. This is not a dosha. Dosha meaning defect. Nayam doshaha. Because he is saying that by mistake you must have said that all the three are required. What is required is only two. Then why have additional burden? Correct? Why have this additional burden of Tattvajnanam? Only Manonasha and Vasana Kshaya should be sufficient for in case of Vidvat Sannyas. You understand? Hopefully, I'm bringing it, to you. Nayam dosha. This is not a dosha. This is not a defect. Why? Pradhanupasarjana bhavena vyavastha upapattehe. Because this vyavastha can be explained through pradhan and upasarjana bhav. Upasarjan means not some surgeon, okay? By primary and secondary elements. Okay? Something is dominant, something is recessive. Something is primary, something is secondary. Pradhan upasarjana bhav. What is it? Understand that. Manonashavasana upasarjani bhutau vidvat sannyasinastu tadvaiparityam. I'm sorry. Vidvat vividisha sannyasinaha tatvajnanam pradhanam. Now, the one who has taken to the path of sannyas in order for knowledge to be accomplished, what is his main purpose of that sannyas? Knowledge, pursuit of knowledge. Now, the other two, Manonash and Vasanakshaya, are required for him also, but they are not the primary purpose of the sannyas. In case of Vidvat sannyas, the knowledge has taken place, but the knowledge should not get dulled, clouded. But the primary thing is Manonasha and Vasanakshaya. So, in case of Vividisha sannyas, Tattvajnanam is primary, the other two are secondary. In case of Vidvat sannyas, Tattvajnanam is secondary, but the other two are primary. Pradhan upasarjana bhava. Upasarjana means secondary. Subservient. You understand? You see? And therefore, this is not a dosha. When it is said that all three are required, it is not wrong. It is perfectly okay. But what is primary and what is secondary? Yes, by that we can say all the three are required, but in how much quantity? What is the main focus of a Vividishu sannyasi? Tattvajnanam. What is the main focus of the Vidvat sannyasi? Shanti. Otherwise, that Vidvat sannyas, Vividishu sannyasi, the one who has taken to sannyas in order to know, he will say, well, I have not taken sannyas so that I can, be disturbed because my teacher reprimands me. So I'm going to give up all this knowledge and all. I'm going to, whether reprimanded by the teacher or not, I want knowledge. And therefore, over here, Ataha sahabhyasa ubhayatrapi aviruddhaha, and therefore their coexistence in the sense to practice all the three, whether for any type of sannyasi, is aviruddha. is not opposed, is not contradictory anywhere. न च तत्त्वज्ञानोत्पत्ति मात्रेण कृतार्थस्य किम उत्तरकालीनेन अभ्यास प्रयासेन इति शंकनीयम्. Because there is somebody who's going to say, well, the one who has already attained knowledge, now for him, after knowledge, why would he want to have vasanakshaya or manonasha? He already has attained knowledge, and therefore he is going to find that I am already kritarth. I am already fulfilled. Why would I want it? No, sir. Kim uttarkalinena abhyasa prayasena. Why should I even put that effort? Now, knowledge is taken will be enough. If he says that, iti nashankaniyam. Don't raise this kind of a doubt. Why? Because there is a purpose. And that purpose is jivan mukti prayojanam. What is the purpose? Knowledge has taken place. I know Atma is Brahman. I know this whole world of all the names and forms is only an appearance. In spite of knowing, I keep on getting disturbed. Then somebody comes and says, even my getting disturbed is also an appearance, you know. If you want to get disturbed, please get disturbed. Nobody's stopping you. But we are talking about such a person now who says that, well, I know this is an appearance, but why even have a disturbing appearance? Go. I don't want it. Everybody of you knows that whatever is seen in the dream is not real. Though it is not real, how many of you want to have a disturbing dream? Nobody wants even disturbance, even in dream. Dream is an appearance. Who desires duswapna, a nightmare? It is not real, but do you want it? Does anybody want to see that the person who's very beloved to him die in this dream? No one wants it. Therefore, he who says that vayam kritarthaha, that we are all, no, I am kritartha because I have attained knowledge. Hey, jivan mukti is the prayojanam. We have already said that. That shanti is the prayojanam. And so, jivan mukti prayojana nirupanena, by explaining it to you that jivan mukti is the prayojanam of all this, even after the knowledge is attained, nirupanena pariharishyamanattvad, because it can be, this question will be answered by saying that knowledge, what do they call, that jivan mukti is the purpose. Okay, now 87. तेषु एतेषु त्रिषु अभ्यासेषु सामान्येन प्रतीयमानेषु प्रधान उपसर्जन भावो न विवेक्तुं शक्यते इति चेत्. Sir, you have answered this question by saying that in one case, Tattvajnanam is pradhanam, primary, prime. In the other case, Manonasha and Vasanakshaya are primary. And this is how you have said that, well, it is quite, it can be explained that all three of them are required, whether it is Jivan Mukti or Videha Mukti. All three are required. Correct? But, sir, how to determine what is primary for me, what is secondary for me? How am I going to determine that? How am I going to identify what is primary, what is really important at this point for me? How should I do that? Iti vivektum na shakyate. We are not able to distinguish this. Teshu eteshu. Amongst all these three, trishu abhyaseshu. Because all the three need to be practiced. The practice of knowledge, the practice of manonasha, the practice of vasanakshaya. Samanyena pratiyamaneshu, they are seen commonly. Yet, pradhano upasarjana bhavo na vivektum shakyate, I am not able to understand how to distinguish and understand what is primary at this point, what is important. So suppose you are going to sit over here and study. The very fact that you are sitting over here is because there is a demand that I need to understand. Then suddenly you find it, well, Swamiji is talking for more than an hour, and now I need to do meditation. You keep talking. Meditation. Now he sits for meditation. Samadhi. What are you sitting here for? Then you suddenly say, no, 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 this is not. Then go and sit in a cave. Who's stopping you? You will find this people doing very often. They come and sit for some pravachan, for a discourse, with a mala in the hand. Neither japa nor they are listening. What is all that pretense? You are already creating the bifurcation of the mind. Neither are you able to apply your mind in japa, nor are you able to apply your mind to the discourse to understand. And this constant bifurcation is what you call spirituality. That bifurcation means there will always be a conflict. मैं जप करूं कि सुनूं, मैं जप करूं कि सुनूं. भाई जप करना है, जप के लिए तुम अपना समय रखो. जब सुनने के लिए घंटा भर बैठे हो तो सुनो, समझो. तुम्हें जप करने के लिए अभी यही समय, यही यही स्थान मिला. Oh, no, 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 24 hours we should take Lord's name. Then what is it? This is some laukik that you are doing. क्या बात. कितना अपने आप को ठगोगे? How much will you keep deceiving yourself? Stop that. टीवी देखते समय तुमको भगवान की नाम लेने का याद नहीं आएगा. दुनिया भर का बाकी काम कर रहे हो, उस समय तुमको भगवान का नाम लेना है. ये अभी बैठे कुछ झूठ करते हो. Anyway, Maivam, he says, Vivek tum na shakyate, I am not able to understand, or one will not be able to distinguish what is primary and what is secondary in these three. He says, Maivam, not like this. Then how? Prayojananusarena Vivek tum shakyatvat. Depending upon the purpose of that person, the distinction can be made. We are not saying that this is only primary and this is secondary, depending upon the person. Because the person has got the prayojanam, he defines what is your purpose. Swamiji, what is the purpose of our life? Why should I define it for you? You tell what is your purpose, that is your life. Why should I define what is the purpose of your living? Why should I tell? You tell what do you want? Why do you want to put that gun on my shoulder? But Swamiji, we feel that everything is purposeless. Find out what is your true desire. We can help you. But you find out. And therefore, in Hinduism, you will find that it is fiercely protecting your independence. and basically the independence of thought. Nobody takes the charge of saying that I'm going to tell you what to do and give commandments. No, you tell what is your purpose. Prayojananusarena vivektum shakyate. So this is the prayojanam. Then mumukshoho purushasya jivan mukti videha muktischa iti prayojana dvayam. Now, whom are we talking about? Not a general person, not any Tom, Dick, and Harry in the street, but a person who has recognized that yes, liberation is purpose of my life. We are not even talking about a person who says liberation is also one of the purposes of my life. As long as you are going to say I also want God, means there is other thing in your list. There are other things. Is not it? He who says I want only God. हमें भगवान भी चाहिए has to transform into भगवान ही चाहिए. सो कर्मयोग से लेकर के कर्म त्याग की जो यात्रा है वो भी से लेकर के ही तक है. नहीं समझ में आती है ना इतनी अच्छी बात है. आई एम ग्लैड. आपको हिंदी समझ में आती है? नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं. There are a good number of people who don't understand Hindi. The entire spiritual journey from karma yoga to karma sannyas is the journey of I want also God, so I want only God. That much is the journey. From the point you reach भी से लेकर के ही तक, जहां ही आ गया कर्मयोग ने अपना फल दे दिया. जब तक के भी लगा हुआ है तब तक के कर्म योग के ही अधिकारी हो. कर्मणि एव अधिकारः ते मा फलेषु कदाचन, कृष्ण को कहना पड़ता है. तुम कर्म के ही यू आर द अधिकारी, मीनिंग you are a right candidate. You're qualified only to perform karma and not give up karma, not renunciation. Why? Because you have a tag. भी लगा है. जब ही आ जाए तब समझ लेना कि हाँ जी. लोग तुम्हारी निंदा करें तो तुम्हें चलेगा? If people censure you, will you be happy? Will you be okay with that? If you lose money, will it not disturb you? So that means that I still am wanting to have approval of people, appreciation from people. I still am wanting to, I'm still able to see security invested in money somewhere, in wealth, in recognition, in status. As long as this is the case, don't even talk of renunciation. Keep doing your karma, keep doing your duty. But understand this duty is an opportunity to serve, worship God. God does not require your service. This service is going to cleanse you, and that is why it is your requirement. It is not what God requires. God doesn't require anything from you. The God is not expecting anything. If God also starts expecting something from you, the God already has become dependent on you. You already are burdened so much. Now there is one more burden of God also sitting. You see, then your God is a burden. You're doing this to shake off the burden. People go to churches so that they can be free from guilt. But going over there, they impose you with another guilt. You don't have sufficient faith in God. You're a sinner. Hiram. Some God died for you. I already had the guilt of not, packing my husbands and sons and, tiffins properly. Now I have another guilt that somebody died for me. Too much. Have one more guilt and one more burden. I had already. I thought that you will relieve me of that, but you have given one more. You know, in my childhood, the village where we grew up for some time, there was this Adivasi Pada Katkarensa. This what do they call Adivasis? You understand, right? Tribals, a little away. And we kids, children, boys used to go over there to be with them, play with their children. I mean, children. You know. They had a very strange, what do they call, remedies. So somebody says, I have a stomach ache. My stomach is hurting. They will, they will put a rod of that iron rod and make it red hot. And put it there. Still hurting? Dare says it's still hurting. If there was internal, now there is external also. One more. Jivan mukti, videha muktischa prayojanadvayam. There are these two prayojanas. You tell us what is yours. Jivan mukti or videha mukti? What is it that you want? What is it that you want? Huh? So till then you're ready to suffer. So if your choice is that I'm ready to suffer till the body falls, it's okay. Just pursue knowledge. You need not say that, Manonash and this is primary for me. Well, over here, but he says, Atascha, Ataha eva vimuktascha vimuchyate iti shruyate. But also understand the one who is Jivan Mukta becomes Videha Mukta. Otherwise, your Videha Mukti can just be, oh, well, I will attend, I don't need enough knowledge that I will. Don't give yourself that false comfort. He who is a Jivan Mukta becomes Videha Mukta. The sentence is Vimuktascha Vimuchyate. He who is liberated becomes liberated. Eh, what is that? Would it not be very strange? The one who is liberated becomes liberated. This sentence is faulty, defective. No, it means to say that he who is a Jivan Mukta alone attains Videha Kaivalyam, Videha Mukta. Therefore, if you are going to say, no, 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 all the rest of the things we don't want, don't remain under that false thing. So over here, Tatra Jivataha Purushasya Daiva Sampada Mokshaha Asura Sampada Bandhaha. And therefore, for a living person, what becomes the cause for liberation is Daiva Sampat, Daivi Sampat, the divine wealth. Oh, wealth again, and divine wealth also. Wealth means something that you value in life, something that is valuable to you. It actually means your value system. Because when you say something is important, you are ready to pay price for it. Otherwise, when these people are, what is it called? अनिश भाई, ये जहाँ पे लीलाव करते हैं, लीलाम, auction, they are selling some old clothes and you're paying high price for that. टूटे फूटे कपड़े के लिए इतनी प्राइस तो हम नए कपड़े को भी नहीं देंगे, है ना? Oh, this was the hat worn by who? Some, you know. You will get the hat, not the person below the hat. He's long gone. And that hat is also on the way to now, already dilapidating, degenerating. But you are ready to. Why? Because because it is valuable to you. So anything that is valuable to you is your wealth. Daivi Sampat. And the other one is Asuri Sampat, the demonic wealth. But what is that demonic? Demons and all. By demonic, don't be scared. We will tell you. We are not talking about any, those triangles and all and burning candles in darkness. Yeah. More evil is caused in this world under the name of God than in name of devil. You tell what is more demonic. More blood has been shed in the name of God than in the name of any demon. All terrorist attacks in whose name? Satanic worship and all. Don't tell us this. What you are worshipping itself is satanic. That is more evil. That is causing more dukkham, more suffering. Anyways, let's not go there. Tatra jivataha purushasya, he says, Daiva sampat mokshaha. Daiva sampada mokshaha. Sampada over here is tritiya vibhakti. Instrumental case, the word is sampat, will become through the Daivi Sampada Mokshaha, through the Asuri wealth, bandha, the bondage becomes stronger. And therefore, now it is important for you to know. But for whom is it this bandha and moksha? Jivataha purushasya, the one who's living. We don't require it. Maybe you're not living then. So over here, techa sampadau. Sampadau, what case is this? Jewel case? Who said that? Yeah. Techa sampadau, both these sampadas, tatreva abhihite. They are told in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So now you can recite these verses. We will just go through this quickly so that we can keep progressing because everything I need not explain. Then, when Swamiji does your 16th chapter, you listen to it properly. Huh. Abhayam sattva samshuddhi. बोलो ना बोलो भाई आराम से अभयम सत्व संशुद्धि ज्ञान योग व्यवस्थिति दानं दमश्च यज्ञश्च स्वाध्यायस्तप आर्जवम्. So, in describing, now he has started telling you what is this divine wealth, because you will have to accumulate the divine wealth. Wealth is accumulated, you have to meticulously, very alertly keep on accumulating, and only then the wealth grows. If one is not alert and he neglects, squanders it, the wealth is not going to grow. You have to give attention to it. Is not it? Ask any person who has wealth, that has wealth grown just because he was careless about it or he was very careful, meticulous. Hmm? Like that, these are the virtues which is called as the divine wealth. One has to pay attention to it. One has to be alert that this wealth should not be squandered, should not be snatched, should not be robbed from you by situations, by people. It should not be. I got angry because he made me angry. So, which means that the inner peace has already gone. To retain this inner peace, your inner peace is not somebody else's responsibility. Why are you saying that he agitates me as if it is his responsibility to retain your inner peace? That's your responsibility. If you are not going to be careful about it, why should he be? He makes me very disturbed. We are going to take the fun because, if we are going to have entertainment at your cost, why should we not? You have decided to be a clown and entertain us. Please do that. What say? Now over here, abhayam sattva samshuddhi. Abhayam means fearlessness. That fearlessness means you don't have to show your valor by holding a sword and becoming a hero or anything. No. In ordinary things also. Now, for example, I'm afraid I don't know when Swamiji is going to finish. Hey, don't be afraid. He's going to. Because he can't keep on talking. So when you're going to sit in a lecture, you need not show indications. Don't have to. संकेत देने की जरूरत नहीं है. What are you afraid of? That this man is going to keep on talking all the time? He may be fond of talking. Fearlessness means, just having the courage to face the situations, knowing that every situation is bound to change, is bound to pass. Let it be prepared. Fearlessness. That means a person whose psychology is not gripped by insecurity all the time, who doesn't function under insecurity. I'm driving properly because I'm afraid the police may catch me. Then you're driving under insecurity. I'm driving properly because this is how the driving is supposed to be. Then why should I be afraid of police? So my driving properly is not because I have got somebody watching me. That's my freedom. That is my freedom. So he's free to be free from insecurity. Fearlessness, abhayam, sattva samshuddhi. Sattva means antakaranam, because antakaranam is predominantly sattva guna. You all know this. Those who have learned panchikaranam and all that, you will know. Sattva guna, sattva samshuddhi, where the sattva guna is not contaminated by rajo guna and tamo guna, is called as sattva shuddhi. So shuddha sattva. So as much as you are able to free your knowledge, your understanding from the influence of insecurity or desire, to that point, sattva shuddhi is taking place. When you are going to say, well, I want to learn this, understand this because it will give me money, then it is rajoguna influencing. I don't want to understand this because I'm feeling lazy. Tamoguna. Sattva samshuddhi, jnana yoga vyavasthiti. Jnana yoga means jnanam cha, yogam cha. When a person is well established in knowledge, in wisdom, as well as in the practice of meditation. Vyavasthitam. That vyavasthiti is there. It is not random. Some days I feel like meditating, and only those days I meditate. Spirituality. That spirituality is kind of, erratic. So now he has got some, what do they call it? A bout of spirituality. Some days I feel like, listening to Vedanta, and I listen. And then after it goes away, and again. Hey, this is not Vyavasthiti. Vyavasthiti means, well, with commitment. So Vyavasthiti, Danam. Danam means, oh no, that is the fun part of it. Charity means you are giving it to somebody because it is his requirement. Dhanam is not his requirement, Dhanam is your requirement. I want to give because, not because, that is your requirement. And if it is his requirement, I am somebody still higher in position and doing some obliging you by giving this. This is charity. No, Dhanam means I am giving it to you and you are obliging me by accepting it. There is humility. Dhanam. Damaha. Damaha means restrain over the karmendriyas. Jnanendriyas is called as Dama. Dhanam damascha yajnascha. Yajna is, our certain practices, religious discipline is called as yajna. Over here, let us call that, and we will go further. Yajna. Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means this studies. The studies of the Moksha Shastra over here is Swadhyaya. Tapaha, the ability for one to undergo the austerity, the tapa. One can scorch himself in order to attain something. And over here, the attainment is knowledge, and therefore, whatever it takes, if it is going to take me an hour long of sitting over here, I'm ready. That is tapa. That is going to become tapa. Oh no, that is my siesta time. फैल जाओ हाथ पैर फैलाओ हाथ पैर और सो जाओ. When my time to rest. You're not ready to give up your comfort. Tapa means you're ready to give up your comfort. You're ready to walk out of your comfort zone. And he who is just wanting to live in the shell of comfort zone, let him not ever dream of achieving anything, of growing anywhere. Arjavam. Arjavam means straightforwardness. There is no hidden agenda behind him. I talk sweetly to you, not because I'm sweet. There is an agenda. Straightforwardness. And this straightforwardness should not be misunderstood as a person, as I'm straightforward. He talks rudely and thinks he's straightforward. No, it simply means Bhagavan Manu says, Satyam Bruyat and Ma Bruyat Satyam Apriyam. This is an example of that straightforwardness. He says, Satyam Bruyat. Yes, indeed, speak what is truth. But Priyam Bruyat, and let that Satyam also be presented in pleasing words. Satyam Bruyat, Priyam Bruyat. But I don't, that Satyam is very bitter. He says, don't speak. If you don't know how to speak, don't speak. Satyam Bruyat, Priyam Bruyat, Ma Bruyat, Satyam Apriyam. अप्रिय भी मत बोलो, असत्य में ही मत बोलो. ऐसा सत्य भी मत बोलो कि जो अप्रिय हो. It is not necessary that one has to speak volumes. You can be brief, you can be concise. Let that be Satyam and let that be Priyam. Then your words will become potent, potent to create happiness. Otherwise, your words will become potent only to create wounds. What are you creating around you is important. Are you creating joy, happiness, peace, love, or are you just creating hatred, dukkham, suffering with your words? Straightforwardness. So this is what is called as the divine wealth. And there is a whole list of it. And we are going to go through it little by little. Maybe we are not going to go into the details of everything so that you understand that this is the wealth, this is called as the Daivi Sampada through which moksha takes place. There is another which is the demonic wealth, because of which you will create bondage for yourself. When you are seeking freedom, when you are seeking liberation, it is important for you to know that what will help me in liberation and what will cause bondage. Therefore, Daivi Sampada and should be known. ॐ पूर्णमतः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः Mahadev. Mahadev. Thank you very much.